Missional lifestyle. Mission question. Everywhere to everyone. That's the concept I explained the last time. Remember? The whole mission field, the whole environment has changed. Well, should I or should I not go to the traditional mission field? Still you have that question, some of you. When you look at the John chapter 4, there is a conversation between Samaritan woman and Jesus. And Samaritan woman asked him, where should I worship God? Because there was a long debate between northern Israel, and then southern Jew regarding where to worship. It went to go back to the Jeroboam, the king. But Jesus clearly said, what is important is where you go or where you do not go. What is important is, right now, where you stay, worship God in spirit and truth. That's much more important. If you do that, that's God's direction, God will open the second door for you. But you cannot skip the worship now, here, in truth and worship. So basically, motive and lifestyle is much more important than where should I go, where should I stay. Much, much more important. First lifestyle is standing in the gap. Ezekiel 22. And God looked for a man among them who would build up the world and stand before me in the gap on behalf of the land, so I would not have to destroy it, but I have found none. Ezekiel got a dream about the wall of Jerusalem. And there was a hole there. There was a gap there. And God was looking for who can stand in the gap. This whole mission question is about balance issue. Where there is already a keeper, the wall keeper, you don't have to go there. Basically, you need to see the whole battlefield from not from my perspective, but from God's perspective. Think about it. From God's perspective. Where is the gap? And are you willing to go there? Are you willing to fill the gap? Are you willing to keep that imbalance? That's much, much more important. It's not just going where and where not. Even in the mission field, I have witnessed certain missionaries doing exactly the same thing what local Christians do, which they do not have to do. Because why? Because that's the area they feel comfortable. So they are repeating what other Christians do. What's the point? It's not about what I like to do, what I feel like to do, but it's about what God wants to see happen. That's the perspective. But do you have that in your life now? That's much, much important than where you go, where you not go. Why do you choose what you do? Is it because you feel like it? Or is it because there is a need for people? Well, the Professor Saar is talking about spiritual warfare. He was talking about this guerrilla war in Vietnam, remember? The enemies are hidden, cannot see, but keep attacking them, keep attacking the soldiers. That's exactly happening here. You think that America is very safe in terms of spiritual warfare, but not true. In fact, through mass media and through internet, from movies and dramas, every day you are indoctrinated that I should do what I want to do. I should achieve what I want to get. I need to have more. You are indoctrinated every day. But that's not kingdom spirit. Kingdom spirit is trying to see everything from God's perspective and trying to fill the gap. And then God will develop your career. Believe me, really. If you follow this direction, God's perspective, and follow Him, and God will provide you a spec. But if you try to find out based on your needs and your feeling, you can be very misled. Standing gap in the spirit. What's the lifestyle of global perspective? Standing in the gap perspective. Choosing the place and jobs and tasks based on the global perspective, then by competence. working with the church based on his perspective than my comfortness. Even inside of church, certain tasks. Let's say there are many worship leaders. And I like to worship in God in singing, but when there are many, should I repeat that because I feel comfortable? Or should I look for certain things people do not want to do still church did it? That's a lifestyle. You try to see the gap and feel the gap. Instead of chasing my desire, try to see the God's desire in perishing people and try to fill the gap. That's the attitude. Well, I remember that the first time I participated in the project of setting a university in Myeong-Gu University. I worked as a coordinator for 60 years. And at the time, I didn't want to participate in the project because I wanted to write paper as a scholar. And already I have given so much time in ministry and teachings, and at night and then early in the morning I tried to write paper. And then this demand came to me, and we needed somebody who can take care of the whole coordinations for the project of setting this university. I wanted to reject it, but when I saw that project, I found that there are so many engineers, science professors, but no business major, human resources. So I realized that I need to fill the hole. So I went into there, and gradually God developed my career as a coordinator. But the point is this, I'm not talking about promoting myself. My point is this, everywhere you go, do you have a perspective from God's perspective, not from you? And then are you trying to fill the gap? That's the beginning of mission. Choosing friends and building long-term relations based on his perspective. Relationship and friendship is not a minor thing. It's a major thing. The core part of our life. You cannot divide your times to so many people. You got to choose somebody to get along. And whom are you getting along with? Do you choose them because you feel comfortable? Or do you choose them because they need God? It's your choice. Thinking about the impact I can bring for the kingdom by standing at a certain gap. Think about it. Where should I stand? Does it actually bring values to customers? Well, not customers, values to the kingdom? And think about that perspective instead of satisfying my needs. Question coming back again. Where should I go and what should I do? This is mission day for the whole picture. That's the topic I covered last week. The whole mission field has changed. This is your personal mission day. God has worked in you in your life, and how God has led you so far. And use your freedom proactively for the kingdom cause. You don't have to, in many cases, you don't have to get an extra voice from God in order to fill the gap. Pray and think carefully. And if there is a need, if I can do, then fill the gap. Go in there. Do I live this lifestyle now? That's much more important than going somewhere. Second, missional lifestyle too, into culture. Well, this is the beginning point of Jesus' mission. Remember, the mission belongs to God. Mission does not belong to us. We can only participate in God as a partner. In that sense, also mission is ours too, with God. It's such a privilege of working with God. Great. So that we need to learn what mission is about from God, from Jesus. The starting point of mission is incarnation, becoming one of them. And in this Bible verse, we can see that when Jesus became a child, and he spent 30 years with the Jewish people in Galilee. Spent 30 years. He didn't do church planting. He didn't do evangelism. But just stayed there for 30 years in order to become one of them. That's a God's mission. That's a critical part of and beginning part of mission. What does a missionary do during her lifetime or his lifetime, according to Jesus? Into culture. Before judging them, before making judgment to others, you need to become one of them. That's the beginning part of culture. Some may think that this is what a waste. Spend 30 years doing nothing. Is it doing nothing? God has waited 2,000 years until He sent His Son. He waited until humans are ready to accept. And even God came to the earth, He waited 30 years until they accept Jesus as part of them. That's not waste. That's what mission is all about. Maybe we are too quick to make a judgment of others. Sometimes we are too quick to share the gospel, but it's not there. It's a holy waste. That's the mission. I remember that when I visited Jordan, there was a missionary who is working for carpenter shops. They hired like 40 people, and then most of them, half of them are women, and half of them were handicapped. And then I had a chance to lunch with him, and I asked him, what are the happiest moments in your ministry? And he said, the happiest moment was yesterday when I had a lunch with these employees. And they talked about their personal life, their struggles with their wife, with me. And that was the happiest moment. And I said, why? Why they could be the happiest moment for you? And he said, I was a missionary for 7 years, but I couldn't make anyone who approached to me and share his personal life. I couldn't make a friend. But after I started working this business, a year after, now they consider me as a colleague, and they share the life with me. So I feel very happy. Do you understand? That's the happiness Jesus had when Jesus said, you are my friends. I'm not going to call you as my students or disciples. I'm going to call you as my friends. That is the happiness coming from becoming one of them. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's the happiness. That's the critical part of foundational mission. Becoming one of them, spending time with them. And then you have that chance every day in your workplace. But do you become one of them? You enjoy that privilege. The privilege Jesus wanted to have for a long time, spent 30 years. And the privilege that missionary wanted to have. And you have that every day. But do you cherish that relation? Do you invest in that relation? Think about Jesus' commitment in his relations. Jesus clearly said, I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel. Doesn't Jesus care about Gentiles? Doesn't Jesus care about other nations? Of course he does. He gave that assignment to his disciples. But he clearly knew that because he was human, his time was limited. And he has a priority in his ministry. So he was devoted to these stupid 12 Galileans. And he devoted his life. John 13, he said, having loved his own who were in the world, he should show them the full extent of his love. He knows whom belong to him. And then devoted his life. And until the moment he was betrayed, he washed their feet with his 12. He knew. He committed. It wasn't a mass production. Mark 16, even after he has risen, resurrected, he told his disciples, I'm going to go ahead of you to Galilee, the main place they used to work, and they used to play together. They used to spend time. And even after resurrection, Jesus went ahead of disciples to Galilee. He was definitely devoted, committed in the relations given to him. That's the foundation of mission. Foundation of mission. Do you get into other people's life and culture? Do you do that? who are the ones entrusted to you in your business relations? Do you know? Do you know them? Do you know that some of them only you can reach out? Do you know that? Do you actually know them, their personal life and their culture? I know one banker in Toronto. He's Korean. And because he loved Muslims, almost every day he spent time with Muslim friends in the bank for lunch. And gradually he realized that he has many misunderstandings of Muslims. So he started studying what Muslim culture is all about. He studied from internet and by reading them, and gradually he understood that Muslim is not as bad as many people would think. In fact, they believe in God. They are not atheists. So gradually he learned how to build the relationship with, how to communicate with others, not necessarily disrespecting their traditional culture. But it took time. Do you have a commitment in the current relations until the next mission? Do you have commitment? Do you restrict yourself for them, to them, and spend time with them? And getting to know them, basically love them. Do you do that? Or do you stay in your comfort zone? This missional life is much more important than specific tasks. If you don't do it now, you cannot do next. You will you will face the same issues again and again, no matter where you are. Well, we learned these 4 pillars. This mission part is basically a balance issue from God's perspective. From God's perspective. Setting up 3 pillars in the weak part of the bad line is a mission through lifestyle, basically. Bammer, we want to see the rise of Bammers from this. Is the ones who have a balance over this power in life. Do you actually have a redeeming, redemptive power in your life? Lifestyle. Do you actually share the gospel with the people you meet through the relations? And do you have a global perspective, God's perspective, not your perspective? Members are the ones who are growing in all these 3 areas. And that growth does not end here. This school is just the start, the beginning. It's a kind of catalyst to think about again. But actual growth that matters, you got to do it yourself and together as a community for the next 10 years and grow up and be like Joseph, be like Daniel, be like Nehemiah. Grow up. This is something so precious that you cannot learn over a year. You need to learn lifetime and grow up. Okay, I'm closing my lecture. Think about all the words I taught in Missional. Missional, remember this? Think about it. Business as a global common culture. And everywhere to everywhere. Band, company, and CLM. Standing in the gap into culture and missional life. Carry that words. I would like to give you 2 questions for your lunch discussion. Do I live the lifestyle of standing in the gap? Do I live the lifestyle of into culture? Thank you.